And hello, my divine, infinite human beings, or all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And we're back. This is the second part of our fascinating interview with Mary Costello.
Whatever way you want to say it, I don't mind.
From
You can
Ireland.
turn me into an Italian. I love it.
When his name was Costello, and it's a pretty big name here. And so, yeah, when I heard you, so Mary, for those who are just tuning into this episode, can you
Mhm.
just tell us a little bit about yourself again? And last week we just covered some fascinating ideas about how the women are giving birth to the new earth, to the golden age from their womb, and as they do that, they are just disintegrating all the miasmas, all the ancestral miasmas, all the trauma, all the false timelines, and that's what we're going to focus on more, I think, this time. But
Yeah,
just so we know who we're talking to. Tell us a
super.
little bit about you.
Okay, my name is Mary Costello. I'm in Ireland. I have been working within the channel of the Eternal Mother for a few years, consciously knowing what I was doing. It actually began when my mother passed away. It kind of opened up my channel. And I have been working and it has become more comprehensive as time has gone on. I'm working to restore the Eternal Mother as the core tone and therefore the magnetic containment of our continuum, of our creational space. Um, and also, actually, what has come through as well is that the magnetic force of the Eternal Mother is the magnetic center of the central sun, and within us, also within our own mechanics of creation, the powering center of our creational body. And then I am just working to bring humanity's consciousness back to the order of love. And the love has an order, it has everything within it for all of its systems and structures of upholding. So that is where I am now.
Well, wonderful to have you. I just feel
Thank
such a
you.
kindred spirit. And so I want to talk this time about, because I like to try, bring stuff up to the higher level and then down to our
Hmm.
daily life, because we have to weave that as alchemists. And I know for me personally, I'm just going to talk that, I was had a difficult relationship with my mother. She was very traumatized. And then I kind of became, and they didn't have a very good relationship. So I became like, daddy's girl, and that gave me just a very strong feeling of confidence. And I think my mother, I had a lot of, like, I was like you, I spent all the time in my room with my stuffed animals, and they were like my spirit guides, and so, and I think my mother just kind of squelched that, because I think she was fearful
Hmm.
and I think a lot of mothers are fearful. They clip the wings of the daughters because they're fearful for us to be all that we can be, because we really couldn't. I'm going to say past 10 couldn't before in the type of world
Hmm.
we lived in. So, I grew up, I didn't even realize I did it, but I remember I heard one of my spiritual teachers say, daughters are always actresses. And, I was always trying to please everybody, and especially like my daddy and men and stuff, because that was where the power was. We talked a little bit about this.
Hmm.
So we've always learned how to, to look the way we think men want us to look. And when I had my film school in Florence, Italy, we did a film called Evolution, and it was about all these paintings in the Uffizi of women, and they're like, "Do you like me now? Do you like me now? Like, I'm sexy, I'm demure, I'm a childbearer, and we've always been trying to look to the power, because the power has been in the
Hmm.
men's court. And now what you're saying, and I agree, it's moving into our court as magnetic. But a
Yeah,
lot of us, we're not even aware of how powerful we are.
I know. And the way you described us with our many faces of, the appeasing, changeable face of the feminine, we upheld so much and we uphold so much um, finite bad dreams that way. And, and then we get rewarded. We get the crumbs of the bad dream, and that's not to insult anybody because they feel important. That's safety. That's physical safety. And if you've known a life of threat, physical safety means a lot. And for many of us women, we have had to be in situations where our wings were clipped, of course, to feel safe. And the other crumbs are whatever, a pat on the head, as simple as that, or the prized possession, somebody's prized possession. So all of that,
Our
understandable, but
baby until you get
mm,
too old, and then you're traded in for the new model. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
so
So it's finite. It's all finite value. Yeah, it's
yes.
finite value.
Yes. I mean, I
Yeah,
see it as playing itself out, but I
yeah,
think even men, the wounded males getting
hmm,
tired of it, it's just not working for anybody because it's a
yeah,
broken mind control program to divide
hmm,
us from our power. And,
hmm,
I just think I feel it's happening. Women are waking up to that
yeah,
connection, that power
yes,
that they
yeah,
embody. So
hmm,
how can more and more women, I mean, I know you talked about
hmm,
what you offer, but what
yeah,
do you think I think part of it we talked about
hmm,
is fasting from the external world because the external
yeah,
world is broken. It's based on the dark masculine,
hmm,
it's all about that. And
yeah,
it's like that cocooning, that coming inward and just
mm,
healing and knowing and having that faith in
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Um,
Yes, I feel like, Elizabeth, where we are now, the reason there's a change, or the reason for me that, what I want the intention of change to be. So I understand. I understand why we would do, the changeable face of the feminine. I fully understand that. No one likes to be ostracized and alienated and to be seen as a woman without value. But we are in a time of transition where we are completely changing the value system on this earth. So for a time, we may look like we are women without value until until everything else collapses, and then it is understood what we have been weaving and what we have been starving. So we are starving the systems of our enslavement. And if people continue in that way, that is their choice. If they continue to partake in their enslavement, and it's not a judgment, and we are all undoing it from our systems constantly. We are organic organisms. We are biological organisms. Excuse me. Biological organisms have to survive, have to submit to the network they are within, otherwise, they will die. So, we have had to submit and connect to and be known symbiotically to the false matrix in order to survive. So, we are part of it and it is part of us, and we are unweaving it now and releasing ourselves from it. I think,
but
like,
which
yeah,
I was kudos to us because we have
yeah,
survived. I mean,
hmm,
the darkest of the darkest that has happened to
yeah,
the female and children, on this planet, and our
hmm,
children, they were our children,
yes,
as mother and children,
mm,
and we've
yeah,
done everything we could just to preserve, ourselves and our
yes,
children mostly, and we're still
yes.
here. I mean, it's
Hmm. And that's
yes.
why we're here, because we were able to preserve. So
Mhm.
the clipping of the wings that we speak of, um, we may look back on that and say, "Oh, that was such a shame, and that was a limitation that was done to me." But it also ensured our survival. And in times of abject war and the horrendous way this world has been run, to be somebody's possession actually gave you safety. You
Yes.
were valuable, yeah, to something. So I
But you
understand that
had
now.
to
Yeah.
you had to adjust and conform to what
Mhm.
they wanted you to
Yeah.
look like. There
Mhm.
in this film we made, there was a Valentina who says, "I make women beautiful." I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful, the very word means be you to the full, but we could not
Yes.
do that. We had to be
No.
whatever they deemed,
Mm.
whatever measurements or whatever hair color
Yeah.
or whatever hairstyle, clothes, and they
Mm.
were the ones that
Yeah.
were just, we were their Pygmalion, and
Yes.
it's been
And
such a journey.
it suits nobody to be that way. What I would say now, my brother always says this, that people are looking for what is real. They want to feel things. They want to feel the way life is for real. And when people are in serious trouble, and we still have wars on this planet, and we have poverty and torture. When people are in these situations, they are not calling for the performative feminine. They're not calling for the feminine who looks pretty, at the right time and says the right. They're calling for the mother, the arms of the mother, to pluck them from their despair and to rescue them. This is the function of woman on this earth. The role of responsibility, what we have neglected, in order to be somebody's trinket, in order to be somebody's princess, what we have actually neglected. And that is not a judgment, because I understand what was done to us, but that is just a call to arms. That is a call to arms, to realize that the enslavement of humanity was only done by the destruction of the mother. And with the resurrection of the mother, that guarantees the freedom of humanity.
It's so funny
Mm.
because I just made a workbook, by the way,
Yeah.
called the Infinite Human Workbook that goes along with the book. And it's just about 106 pages of questions. And
Mm.
I always do everything for myself. So there are questions I was asking myself, and it's all about rewriting your life story to your
Mm.
heroic self.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things, I know this might sound silly to you or people listening, but I swear to God, I just finally hit home. Okay, when I met Peter, my twin soul, it was like, oh my God, we thought each other's thoughts. We were just so close, and I'd never felt that way. It's just so perfect, and it wasn't that way at first, but it was a journey. And
Mhm.
and then when he died, he left. His job was over. It was so devastating, and it's been 20 years that I have been mourning and missing him. But a lot of it was because he gave, I mean, we were one, but he was out there. He was the male, the
Mhm.
doctor, all that. And I was like the magnetic. But you know what? I just finally realized, and he was all the architects. I was his princess or whatever his name. Actually, the queen. It means Monroy, means my king, my queen, Peter
Yeah.
Monroy. And he was my knight, and I loved being
Mhm.
rescued, because I was programmed
Yes.
all that my life with that. Save me, save me. The beautiful women are always so wonderful, but they're always getting in trouble. And I just realized, oh my God, for 20 years I've been mourning that. But you know
Mm.
what? I gave my heroic journey away. It's my
Yeah.
journey. It's our
Mhm.
journey. And we've been programmed
Yeah.
to give that the challenges because it's
Yes.
like, oh, I have to
Mhm.
carry this, or oh, where,
Mhm.
it's like the
Yep.
prize. Okay, you know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. Everyone
Yes,
listening.
we have
Yeah.
been programmed, yeah, to give our devotion to men. We have been programmed to give our devotional feeding, nourishment, everything, our space, to the finite dreams of men. It is completely backwards. The place of vision is the womb. It is the place of the evolutionary vision is the womb. And the devotion is to come through the heart of man to woman, because the womb is the place that the child is always held in devotion. Evolution, humanity, life, innocence, children are held in devotional safety and honor in the womb. And all devotion, electrical devotion, I call it, energetic devotion, is to flow from the man's heart to the woman. That is actually the system of devotion. And I would just also like to say a side note, it's lovely to be a princess and anything else. I don't insult any of those lovely things. It's beautiful to have every facet of yourself as a woman and to enjoy it. And I don't deny anyone the pleasure of dressing up as a princess or anything else. But we are everything. That's what I say. Just be everything. Be the princess, but be the mother, be the grandmother, be the daughter, be the princess, be it all. You know?
No, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, I think of Gone with the Wind,
Mm,
Scarlett O'Hara, I mean, she's like the belle of the ball, but then when she
yeah.
comes back to Terra and there's no food, okay,
Mm.
sometimes princesses, have to roll up their sleeves and,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna be hungry again."
Yeah.
You know? So,
Mhm.
you're right, you have to that's why we're electrical magnetic because
Yeah.
we're adaptable, we know what to do.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
okay.
It's a total shift, right? That's just turned on its head. We have been told, and there's still relationship teachings which tell a woman to, like you say, hand her creational capacity to the man beside her, devote into his vision. But that doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't seem complete. I know that if I have the channel of the Eternal Mother, that is the channel of vibrational beginnings. Therefore, I have the form of my womb, which is the place where the sound and the vision and the dream of the mother is emanated from. Then I have the full function of that, and I have the authority over my own form and my own function. And
Yes,
then
and
there's a responsibility. That's the next one. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
time is now. Like you said, the time is
Mhm.
now because in the past we did that. We did it good. Kudos to
Yeah.
you. And if you could get the Princess Prize, good. That's the
Yeah.
top of the. That's as far as we could go in the finite. I love what
Yes.
you said. We gave all our creativity
Yeah.
to the finite dreams of men, but the
Yes.
finite world is crumbling. And you know what?
Yes.
The guys know it. They still kind of
Mhm.
want to hang on to that power, with the
Mhm.
money and the prestige and I live in Italy here, so you know,
Mhm.
all the men take all the glory, and all the women do all the work. They work very very hard. No princesses
Yeah.
here. They work,
No.
and they're the mamas behind these little boys. I call them the
Mhm.
little men, the womanini, and
Yeah.
but now we have to pull that creativity out, not to
Mhm.
punish them, even, and they will cry, but for their
Mhm.
good, because we have to put that creativity on the proper golden
Mhm.
age, on the
Yeah.
timeline, on the
Yeah.
infinite earth, the
Mm.
infinite dreams that we want to create on
Yeah.
outside the broken finite system that is
Mhm.
crumbling. So they have a place to go, and then
Yes.
well,
Absolutely.
like you said, they'll say, "Oh, well, I did this."
Yes, and we'll say sure, as long as it's done.
Don't
Or
you love
maybe we'll say something else. But yes, they will cry, and they are crying, and I get this. I get this stuff sent, put at me. But what I say is the background music for the freedom of humanity is the cry of the mini tyrant. That is inevitable. If we are bringing the place to a crumbling of every single false system, that also means the place inside in the consciousness. Not everyone is a, a kind of a person who goes and conquers countries and does horrendous things and builds empires, but a lot of men build mini empires on the backs of women, actually, and run their house like a mini empire. So all of that, the whole empire, whether and in men's, in a competition, in a competitive finite way of looking at things, the person who just runs their home like an empire is not as bad as the person who's taken over a country and stolen their minerals. But we know it's all on the same spectrum. So that full spectrum of hierarchy and power over is leaving humanity's consciousness, because it is built on lies. And all lies are built on the backs of the amnesia and the degradation of the mother principle, which is the land, the soil, the water, everything that sustains us, and women, the wombs that birth reality. So there will be tears, but love is there's a spectrum of love. There's a length and a breadth of love that's been asked. There's an eternal love that's been asked for. It is not love to, offer a man a false flattery or praise if you know better, if you actually believe you have a better thing to say, or an expansion on what they're saying. And it's such a beautiful thing when you offer the expansion and then a man comes back with his expansion, and before you know it, there's a spiral opening, and this man is getting to fully express his intelligence in answer to what you've asked. If we put a little ceiling on top of ourselves, we will never get to know what that beautiful creational dance looks like between the masculine and feminine. And there's no need for it, because yes, some do cry and have tantrums, but the vast majority of men are seriously suffering within this system also.
Yes, and
Mm.
I've always said that it's the divine feminine who will give birth to the divine masculine.
Yeah.
So, and some part of that is suffering, just seeing what
Mm,
doesn't work. And then they're going to
yeah,
go to the solution, which is you, which is why we have to stay strong and firm
yes.
in our faith.
Hmm.
So, um, I get all into this. And then,
We
so
just have to deeply nourish, right? This is a time where women are deeply nourishing, bringing the minerals back into the body and just creating that softness and receptivity. We are preparing the soil, it's all coming. So that's what I would say to women. When there's moments like this where we're not being received or trusted or whatever, take that time to deepen and replenish and become more. Don't reach outside of yourself. Just bring more of yourself back into yourself.
yes, and I wanted to
Mm.
say something earlier. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Is about the womb, and
Mhm.
I did a Sacred Sicily pilgrimage here, and right down the road is Mosia, and this was a place where the Phoenicians came, and they sacrificed their firstborn to Baal, and we went there because, of course, it's all in the ley lines, but
Yeah.
when you talk about the womb, it's not just children, but it's also our own inner child, because
Yeah.
when that trauma happened, it severed that bond with our child, but our
Mm.
divine inner child that
Yeah.
feels and that knows, through its feelings, what's true, what's not true. So,
Mm.
and I think that's part of the healing, right? With the womb is to heal
Yeah,
our, yes,
absolutely. That inner child, that eternal child is the voice of the new beginning. It's the call, it's the cry of innocence. It's the beautiful thing about women, why we are so unprogrammable. And of course we have assumed some programs to survive, but the reason why women are so unprogrammable is because the womb is divinely programmed to respond to the cry of the child, and that is the cry of the eternal child, like you say, the inner child.
the divine
um
child.
Yes, that is our number that's our boss. So if we have a boss, it's the child. So yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Mm.
So, okay. What? I want to talk about time. I mean, when we
Sure.
had our whole the time change here, getting on the right time. But I mean, gosh,
Mm,
it's like I feel like, and I know it's not just, it used to be me all the time, but now other people that are just normal, they are having trouble. They can't fit in their 3D reality anymore because
mhm.
time just seems to be like so elastic and so.
Yeah,
And of course, we've talked a lot about the fall, and we've had a
mm,
lot of people here that have talked about the true hidden history of our planet, and colonic
mhm.
science, or whatever you call it. But we have been divine angelic beings
Yeah,
that fell, and the true timelines are that. And that's
mm,
where we're completely in harmony with the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And of course, you look at the ancient cultures; there were always a matriarch. It was
yeah,
always ruled by the women
mhm.
who not ruled, but who were the guardians of the Mother Earth, and who made sure everyone's needs were met, just like a mother.
Yeah,
The
mhm,
embodiment of the Divine Mother. So I feel
yeah,
like we need to realize that it's not like we have to push to do it right.
mhm.
It's there. We just have to meet it. We have to just let go, shed, right? The fall. You
Yes.
said the electrical false
Mm,
timelines are okay, are dissolving. So could you talk
yeah,
a little bit more to
sure.
that?
I would love to talk about that, and this may come across abstract because I will see how this lands. But so a couple of years ago, I asked the question like, what was the clock before the clock? And it kind of led me on this mission to find what the clock was, and I knew it had something to do with the Eternal Mother. Um, I laid 12 crystals in a circle at this place in Ireland called the Seat of Queens. I had just been to visit Queen Maeve's cairn on the way, and my mother was living with me, and she was the queen of the house at the time, and there was something gathering about time and the correct clock. What was the correct clock? What I found, and this has come to fruition just in the last couple of weeks, I had a workshop. I felt this call from, this is maybe abstract, but from the Golden Mother Dragon. I have felt this call from the Golden Mother Dragon who is underwater. Maybe I am part of her, and to me, the Golden Mother Dragon now We called her into position, we called her back, and she is in position. And when I say dragon, this is just the sum total of the correct golden magnetic creational power of women, of mother. We called her, we sang her back into position as the magnetic center of the central sun. And this is also a correction happening to our mechanics of creation, our magnetic center within ourselves. So what I will say now, and in the doing of this, what I realized is that the impulse of time, the beat of time, is created by this pulse, this magnetic pulse of the golden mother dragon. Her intention is love, and our time-space reality is under that command. What I've realized is that the time has collapsed, the timelines have collapsed. In the remembrance of this, and to collapse the timeline, the timelines is to embody this corrected magnetic center, so that the distance between impulse and actualization disappears. That's what time is. It's the distance between the impulse of the creational impulse and then the actualization, where us seeing this thing in the field or us creating the thing in form. The distance collapses. The timelines collapse when as we bring this correct embodiment back into ourselves. And this is being done across the board. This has been a correction in the central sun that was witnessed by many. Many were part of this. Many had felt the call to create this, and I was doing something, but I'm pretty sure other women were doing something at the same time too. So if that makes sense, and that may make sense to somebody that may be able to ground that into something more concrete, but the collapse of the timelines is the embodiment of the correct magnetic center, the correct pulse point of creation. That's what I can say, the collapse. And the purveyor, the guardian of the correct magnetic center of the clock is the golden mother dragon, which is just the sum magnetic creational force of women, of mother.
Beautiful. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of add to that from
Sure.
to make sense of it. Well, as a student of colonic science, and you just kind of recognizing the work that Ashiana Dean did as a speaker.
Mm.
Basically, for me, she has spoken forth much of the texts, the ancient texts that were taken from the Christic tribes, and
Mm.
are most of them are under the Vatican. So this was stuff that was supposed to be in the Bible. So with
Okay.
with that understanding, okay, so what it is yes, we've been caught in an artificial time loop, and the
Mm-hmm.
dragons were one of the first cause. They're like the ascended, the highest emanation at the rishi level of true ascended masters in our time matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And basically there's no time, but we choose to buy the ticket to the time
Mm.
matrix that we enter, you need to accept the show or the illusion of time, and I say we're all stories in the mind of God. So we choose to
Mm.
participate in this kind of group story, but it got in our time matrix got corrupted and infiltrated by
Mm.
parallel time matrices that fell, and so that they've caused our time matrix unit to become distorted, and
Mm.
we call them fallen angelics or parasites, whatever, because they disconnected from the infinite and they had to
Yeah.
parasite their source energy from
Mm.
us. So that's what we've been caught in this loop. That's why the magnetic female has been so co-opted, because of the power and its
Mm.
ability not to be like you said, mind controlled, because of our
Mm.
intuitive feeling womb,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so that makes sense to me. And then of course, and then we are resetting to the cosmic clock, okay, the
Mm.
true clock, because we've been caught in a Fibonacci, not chi,
Mhm.
death spiral of
Mhm.
artificial AI produced timelines. And now
Mhm.
we're getting back, and we talked about this because there was a split between the timelines in November 8th. We had Ian Parks on here. So we're on the
Okay.
Krystala spiral, and these are like crystal dragons, from the
Mm.
crystal, the true identity of us is Krystala beings, the Christ.
Yeah.
That's what the the 12th strand of Christ's body is. So we're getting back on that Krystala timeline. So that's the true
Mm.
timeline where this didn't happen. So that's what
Yeah.
we're seeing, the glitches and the dissolving of it. And
Mm.
I think what I want to emphasize, and I know you believe this, is that a lot of people are like, oh wow, I want to ascend. I saw, I've been watching some stuff, and like, we're all going to ascend, but what do we have to do next? And they're seeing it from a 3D perspective, and like a
Yeah.
solar flare is going to come, or
Mhm.
Jesus is going to, whatever. But it's inward. It's an internal thing. So
Mhm.
the more you heal, the more
Mm.
you collapse those fragmented aspects of yourself that are still on that downward
Yeah.
spiral of ascension, the
Yeah.
more frequency you can hold, and the more you will get onto the golden organic timelines. Is
Yeah.
that make sense of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Right.
this is the this words come to me like the kingdom of heaven is in the heart. And there is already avenues and avenues and for our reception. There is architecture already for our upholding. So there really is nothing to voyage to anymore. It is internal. We are the mechanics of creation, and once we self correct, we can push the moment to come, the birthing moment to come, that causes a further, like a correctional invitation for the consciousness. You know, such is our
Thank
power.
you.
Mm.
I use like teachings, to help me orient
Yeah.
things, but I actually work inward out. I get something and
Mm.
then I look outside of myself, like, what is this about? And then I
Yeah.
might see someone else who's talking about it. And, it's interesting because I have these understanding, and a lot of my audience follows these colonic teachings. So we'll talk.
Yeah.
But what we're showing, what we're illustrating here is that first it comes intuitively, and it
Mm.
doesn't matter who you follow. It's not an external speaker, teacher. We're all getting it. We might see it from different
Mhm.
perspectives, but
Yeah.
we're all getting it, from inside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
And I've kind of been kept away from following teachings or reading or anything.
which is a good thing.
So yeah, it's just been the way it has been, and it's fine. So my language is very much like descriptive, like a painting, like a dream, because I'm just describing what I see or what I feel. But I always have, or now in the last few years, I have full faith in my self expression, and I would offer that to everyone, to have full faith. Don't doubt yourself. 'Cause someone asked me recently, she had seen a premonition, but she didn't feel or know how to express it in advance. And we're coming to this place now, to all of us, where we will have the words for ourselves. Our words were also taken away. Our means of expression were taken away. They're coming back, and we will be able to express ourselves exactly as we are. We don't need to run ourselves through like a checklist. Do we sound perfect? Do we sound polished? We need to give each other the option to expand. So I can say something not quite formed, and then you could offer an expansion. Like this is what we need to do. There's no point coming to the table perfectly pristine and having an opinion. Opinions are over. Swapping opinions, fighting about opinions. Come as you are and just spit it out and allow everyone the gift of their own voice. And before you know it, there's a beautiful spiral and everyone's expanding. No one's answering each other, they're expanding, and then we feel it. We feel it when there's resonance. We feel it when we've hit the jackpot, and everyone feels it. And something has been born in those moments. Yeah.
Yes, and I always want to say, "Amen." No, but as we raise our frequencies, we come together in this
Mhm,
true unity of heart, of energetic bonding. Because I would say
mhm.
we're water. We're all water, but we're snowflakes,
Yeah,
and all different. So then we really can truly appreciate the uniqueness of each other, of our voices, of our tones, of the way we express ourselves, because we have that true unity. But we've been
yes.
in the world of duality. So no, no,
Mhm.
he's black, she's white, he's rich, she's poor. It's like
Yeah,
pitted against each other. So we got
yeah.
to take a real short break. We'll be back
Okay,
in just a minute,
perfect.
and we're back. um, and we're back with Mary Costello. I always say Costello. Hello. And we're talking about the restoration of the organic timelines, which we just got into, and the coming of the golden age, and how that is all happening as we restore the Divine Mother within us first, because we are the emissaries, we are the embodiment of the Divine Mother. That's how she's going to be
Mhm,
expressed. I always say we're like, God. People say, "What's God?" Well, I'm a finger, of God. I'm
yeah,
writing to God. I'm holding the pen. I'm writing my own story, and we
mhm.
have to write and we have to express it through love. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's been a fascinating, fascinating conversation. I'm so
So
glad
much
to
fun.
do. Yeah. So, well, I guess let's talk about the future. I mean, this is
Oh,
so
yeah.
exciting. Okay, so we've got the
Yeah.
women leading because they're magnetic.
Mhm,
And we're we're owning our own creative power. From the
yes.
womb, from our intuitive, knowingness. From I just
Mhm,
say downloading from the divine creator, and we're creating together a
mm,
co-creation with this unity of oneness, but yet allowing the uniqueness, all our individual unique expressions of ourselves
mm,
to come together in this beautiful, cacophony of like a music, like a film where we all, contribute different aspects to make this beautiful whole. And the whole is our new reality, our new earth, a place we want to live in. So
mhm.
what do can you contribute to that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. This is where I'm going to next is the vision of the golden age. This is what I want to attune to. And it's all about attunement, right? Because it's about vibrational beginning. And we all have the memories of pains and aches and all of the things, but we come to a place where we do not want to continue to generate finite bad dreams. And we are generators. We're not just, conduits, we're actually generators of the dream. So where I am now is this deeply embodied attunement, attuning to the vibrational beginning within me, which is in the first instance is this cosmic rose of my womb. It is also my body's voice, which everyone has a voice in the body. And the reason the voice in the body is so important is our body is formed by mother. Our body is the mother. This is how we should never believe anything we can't feel. This is my feeling anyway. I don't believe anything I can't feel. And I know that this is how we are to believe in the mother, is that we are feeling her, we are remembering her presence as the place of beginning within the body. So this is where the beginning, the coordinates of the golden age come from in the body. And what I have seen and what I'm offering now is the devotional channel of the heart, the devotional presence um, of the crystal heart, which is the channel of energy, of electrics, of electrical impulse, is to be in service to these vibrational beginnings. And this is how things are created. The heart is to be in service to the vibrational beginnings within the body, especially within the womb. That is how we serve the mother. This is actually how we serve the mother. The greatest honor to the eternal mother, the way to see her rise, is to be of her. It's to be fruitful and in flower. It's to grow as she intended. It's never outside of ourselves. All of our strength is within. All of our integrity and strength comes from vibrational integrity, from this condensing of who we are into this sound pillar. Um, so that's how I'm proceeding. It's attuning to my body's vibrations, because the vibrations in the body are eternal beginning points, and how we know that they're being received and they're being activated is radiance. Radiance is how we know. Or when we connect with someone and we feel more energized, or when we speak about something and we feel more energized, that's how we know we're working with a vibrational beginning of eternal life. We are the beginning of the world without end. We are the beginning of the world without end. Our body is sparkling with the vibrational beginnings of the world without end. And the way we recognize them, are they radiant? Do they dance? Do they call for someone to dance with them? Do they get excited? Do they bubble and fizz? We know we have to discern what a dead end feels like. We have to discern what a dead emotion feels like, and we have to just starve it. Maybe feel it, and cry if we need to, but then starve it and really get that in our minds. Write it down. You know, this habit I have of feeding this dead end beginning. Let me cut this out of my body. You know, so we are starving the finite beginnings within our body, as we would say, the finite timelines, the false timelines that catch us in a story, that catch us in a loop. And we are doing that so we can give all of our heart's devotion, all of our energetic devotion to the vibrational beginnings of eternal life.
Wow. You just
That's a
giving
lot.
me a big sacred kind of, communion and downloading, and oh wow, it's very powerful. And yeah, I just want to say, because and then to back up what we talked about in the last thing was, I'm everyone's realizing how bad things are, and it's like one conspiracy theory and this conspiracy, and we don't want a spiritual bypass, and you need to know the truth of how fallen and a dead end.
Mm,
This We've been living in a death culture. We're
yeah.
coming up to Halloween. We're coming up to, the Day of the Dead. We celebrate the dead. All right.
Mm,
And that's fine. And we need to move through that heal. And I do believe you have to feel to heal. So you have to feel it. You have to heal it. You have to, I don't want to take that away from anyone, but come on, it's
mhm.
been 5 years or something with this whole thing, I mean, there's a point where if you're still hashing
Mhm.
over the latest gossip, you
Yeah.
like your problem and you're feeding your problem. So
Yes.
attention, let's see, energy goes where
Mm.
attention flows, or whatever, or thought directs energy. So what are you focusing on? Okay. So you're
Yes.
right. Now we need, and I'll just, on a personal level, I am a nervous person. I'm a very energetic person, but my mother was always nervous. She was nervous with me in the womb. She told me,
Mm.
she was always, and then when I got in my father's hands, it was like, oh, I can relax. So, and I noticed when I start thinking, I've got to travel, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I'm leaving my home. And I start thinking of all the things that go wrong. And so, I'm
Mhm.
starting now to wake up from this programming that I am doing to myself, because it's a
Mhm.
program, it's a condition, and start saying, what do I want to happen? And I
Yeah.
think we need to start saying what could happen. Oh no, what the bad things could happen. What do I want to happen? And with
Yeah.
the creativity, we have to say, what do I want to have happen in my life? Because as women, I mean, first of all, usually marry, okay, whoever you marry, you marry money,
Mhm.
you're wealthy, it's dependent on someone outside of you, your
Yeah.
father, husband. So, and we've never been asked, what do I want? What do I want to create for myself?
That's
I think
beautiful.
that's the way we're going to start right now. And
Mhm.
I've been doing that. Like, what I
Yeah.
want to create, I have this block, like, oh gosh, like, God's looking, he's gonna strike me down. Hey, hey, Uncle Father, what do I want? What do I want to
That's
create?
beautiful.
And
But
not like, help
yeah.
me, please save me, like finding a way to manipulate someone to give you something.
Mhm.
do I
Yeah.
want, when I wake up in the morning, what do I want to create? What kind of world do I want to live in? What,
Mm.
and I think people are finding it's nothing like what we've been programmed to want.
It's exactly like you like programmed to want. When you
Yeah.
think of all the things we've been told we want, we don't want them at all.
No.
We need what, and need is the language of evolution, actually. Need is actually what matters. Need is what brings you back to your body. Like, what do I really need in this moment? Do I need really, really nourishing food? Do I need to rest? And can we meet our needs without judging ourselves? And
Yes.
without saying, well, actually, but I'm supposed to want to go to the gym, but I'm supposed to want to do this. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of those things. I want to do what I want to do. Or, and to honor the body's needs is such a powerful way to get back to the mother, because the mother deals in need. The mother responds to what the child needs. Nature gives what the plant needs to it. It doesn't, there's no frills, there's no extras, it's about need. And that's something we've been shamed. We've been shamed out of expressing our needs. That's quite a big one.
And especially women, again, because we're talking about
Hmm.
women. Women are, what does my child need? What does my husband need? What does
Yeah.
my mother need? We're always,
Mm.
most women I know are like the anchors for the whole family. I know one
Yeah.
gal in England, I mean, she's living, her parents are in the house with her parents, and she's got a child who's got mental problems. And, she's always
Hmm.
like, I mean, there's no boundaries. You can't
Hmm.
lock the door. You can't find your own sacred space, much
Yeah.
less your sacred space of your womb. It's like,
Hmm.
you're always moving to everyone else. And I
Yeah.
think that has to stop, because it's
Absolutely.
oxygen mask on yourself
Hmm.
first. You have to
Yeah.
maybe shift. As you shift,
Hmm.
everyone else will take care of their own needs.
Absolutely. And that is actually that's creating needy people. And it's really interesting, like we're being pushed to walk the walk now. So if we believe in an infinite compassionate abundant source, then we must believe that everyone can get their needs met without us being destroyed, right? Without us being the sacrifice. If we
Yes.
believe in this compassionate abundant source, then no one should be sacrificed, including, especially, the mother or the woman in the center of things. And when you spoke of, like, you wake up and you say, what do I want? This is what makes me believe you can prove to yourself the existence of this golden age. Like, there's no distance between impulse and actualization. You can say, this is what I want. And that very day, the thing will come to you, right? This is how we prove. We have to reinforce our beliefs now. We have to prove, because we've had enough proof in the outside world that things are terrible. Now we have to take our new core beliefs and prove them. So speak them, command them, and allow the evidence to return to us, so we can actually believe it in what we know it. We already know it. We know we can command from our body, and we will receive quite fast. We just need to get into the habit. We need to build the support. We need to support ourselves. We need to back ourselves and be our own support, our own backbone, our own fan club, you know?
Yes. And and this is so powerful, because we've talked about
Mm,
expanding things, but this is bringing it down to moment, which
yeah.
is where you open the portal for the infinite to come
Yes.
in. And I want to say, as a daughter of a marriage and family therapist, and as a mental health counselor myself, when you're in a family where you're taking care of everyone, the truth
Mhm,
is, and this is the truth, women, okay? This is the gut wrenching truth, that they are
mhm.
actually taking care of you, because there's something inside of you that is afraid to really come into your power. So
Yeah.
they feel, how many times have we done that to other people to make them feel good? You get sick, you make them feel needed. If you're a
Yeah.
person that needs to be needed, you're going to surround yourself by people that you're actually hurting them, because they feel like they have to be less than to make you
Mhm.
feel like you're something. So the
Yeah.
best you can do to help your family, your children, your spouse, your parents, be there in the right moment, of course. But I'm not saying you don't want to feel good about helping people, that's not where you want to get your positive
Yeah.
self-image. All
Mhm.
right. And I don't do that anymore, but I could say I have no one. Okay, it's just me and
Mhm.
Kiki. All right, no children, no husband anymore. And he's with me all the time. No parents, no nothing. And I guess a lot of women would say, "Oh, she's selfish," but so it's focused on me. Okay, because I know by me being the most I can be, that's how, because I love to share with people. I love to
Yeah.
help people. I do everything of service. But first, it's me. And,
Mhm.
I wake up whenever I want to. I go to either the beach or the hot springs. I tune into my body. Now I'm fasting. We had the mucusless diet, so I'm just doing
Mm.
fruits and vegetables and, vegan. And I'm realizing so much of what I really want is not what my brain thinks I want, and that's why
Yeah.
we are so powerful, because we go
Mhm.
through our feelings and our intuition.
Yeah.
So
Yes, and by doing this, we are collapsing this holographic world of that was born from false want. This
mhm.
endlessly greedy, disgusting place where there are systems of slavery, producers who have to produce as slaves to fulfill the endless needs of false want.
And keep
We are starving that. We are
the
starving it.
dependency kind of, but,
Mm,
psychological behavior pattern going. We have to break it. We're the ones that are going to
yeah,
break it.
yeah, we're doing that. A nice pot of homemade soup, light the fire. That's the things I do here. Simple
See?
things that
Yeah.
remind me of my mother, beautiful things that are so simple. Yeah.
Nurturing your own divine inner child. So,
Yeah.
Mary, we're almost out of time. Can you tell everyone
Okay.
how they can get in touch with you again, so that
Yes, please. I Mary Costello on Facebook. I post quite a lot there. My YouTube channel is called The Womb Room Voices of Eternal Beginning, where I offer space to people to come in and unfold, unpack their wisdom, and it's a beautiful space. Offering a new way of receiving people to allow people to unfold and trusting that the gem, the pearl, is already inside. And then I have my website is heartofgold.earth.
Okay, great. And send me
Thank
those links.
you.
I'm going to include them.
Sure.
I have a blog post out now, but I'll put that in it. I'll add that to it. And my all that's on my website, www.infinitehuman.com. And if you're in the Louisville, Cincinnati area, I will be at the Body, Mind, and Spirit November 23rd, which is the day I was born, and the 24th. No place I would rather be. So I'll be there if you want to meet me and Kiki in person. And thank you so much. I just love you. I tell you, it's
It's
just
so
such
much
a
fun.
cosmic union, and I'm sure there's more to come. I always
Mm,
can't wait to do this. And everyone I invite on, I feel like they're part of my family now, and it's not just to bring you on and use you. I feel like we're building something together too. So there's
yes.
the other stuff that will happen. I'm not sure what. It's all, like I said, just work here. So
It's all
okay,
cooking.
okay, so bye everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Ciao for now. Ciao.